So in this video, I want to show you how to work with a JPEG file or a bitmap. So this is more of a raster file versus a vector file, which a vector file being the SVG file that we showed in the previous image overview video. So I have this one here, and this one's it's a pretty good one to work with. You're going to have differences depending on how good the quality of your image is, how many colors the image has as well. So I'm going to bring this in and just show you how to really use the tool, and how you apply it to your project is going to depend on how good your image is. So I'm going to go to my Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new project, and it creates our blank canvas, and we're going to go ahead and use the upload feature to upload that image. All right, you can see I've already done it once, but I'm going to go ahead and do it again. So I'm going to click on upload image here. And here I can drag and drop or browse to that file. So if I open this up here, that is this image here, and I can just move my Windows Explorer over, and I can left click and drag and drop it in. Now when I do that, just minimize this, it comes up and it's going to ask you to select your image type. So the image type can be simple, where you have a high contrast color, right? Where you basically think of it as a black and white image. When I select on that, you can see it changes the images a little bit. If it's moderately complex, meaning that there's some detail and the colors has good contrast, which this is pretty good. Or you have complex, which means I have more colors. So you can kind of select which one you want to work with. It's kind of up to you. It's kind of a trial and error to really determine what's going to work best and what you want to achieve. I'll go ahead with the moderately complex one here, and let's go ahead and hit continue. So it brings it in. A couple things that, it might be fairly large. So there's a zoom tool up here where I can zoom out and see more of my image. And then you have some tools over here where you have a select and erase, you have an erase, and you have a crop. So very simple tools, and then there's some advanced options as well where you can reduce the colors and the color tolerance. So if I was to come in here and reduce the colors to 5, you can see that it changes the colors that I'm working with. When you hit preview, it'll show you that it's going to turn all black because we still have a background that we need to remove, which is why we're going to use this tool up here to remove the background, because we want to make the background transparent so that we can highlight or outline these, whether that's text or our shape in our object. So if I select this and this command and I just pick anywhere in this white space, you'll see that it removes that, kind of that white space. These other areas, like inside the O's, right, they're closed, so we have to left click and remove those as well. So I'm just coming in here. So again, depending on how your image is, you may have to, make some additional tweaks and adjustments. But I'm going to zoom in so I can see. And see, it looks like it got into the E's pretty good. So if I come over here, I'm just checking to make sure that it's gotten rid of all that background. Okay. All right, so that looks pretty good. So I can zoom out. And let's take a preview. So with the preview, you can see that now I've got my outline of my objects. My bear is also an outline, so it looks pretty good as well. So that one is, I can live with that. I can go ahead and use this as my image. I do want to show you a few other tools. So you do have an erase tool. So let's say, for example, I don't want this period here, this dot. I can use the erase tool, and there's an eraser size, so I can make the eraser bigger. You can see the circle there, and I can make it smaller. But I can just come in here and I can erase the objects that I don't want. So if I wanted to remove the butterfly, I could do that as well. So once you have that and you've cleaned it up using the erase, getting rid of the transparent background, right? With the transparent background, if I want to get rid of the yellow in the bear in this case, I could do that as well. So I'm left with just this part of it. So if we preview that, you can see that in the bear, it's got some pretty some additional line work, right? And we don't necessarily want to see that. So this is where it gets tricky trying to clean up these images, which is maybe you use the black and white option or the more complex option when you're bringing it in, right? But if I preview this, you can see that it's leaving some graphics in here, right? Or some little pieces that we really want to get rid of, so we don't want to cut, have to cut those. So you could come in here and use the eraser and just kind of come in here and, work the edges, right? You want to be careful not to take out too much, but by doing that, I'm just cleaning up these raster images. So if I zoom in real tight, you can see it a little bit better. And there's some colors up in here, some white, so I can make the image, the eraser, a little bit smaller, and I can get rid of those, up in here. So you're just kind of cleaning it up. So this, again, I use a little bit different. I use Photoshop because it gives me a little bit better tools for doing this, but the studio is not too bad. So then if I hit preview again, you can see that I got rid of some of that. So I still got some work in here and would have to clean it up. So depends on the detail, the level that you're looking for. It's a matter of just working and zooming in and using the zoom. All right, so I'll get real close to the Pooh Bear here. And you can see see the white, it's kind of that off white in there. So we just want to, if I get rid of that, and then we preview it, you can see that I've gotten rid of some of that, right? So kind of switching between the preview, you can remove some of these objects, right? So I can get rid of that. So I can just use this eraser up in here, hit preview, and you can see I'm cleaning that up, okay? Probably still not, it depends on if I'm drawing this versus cutting it, will depend on how much detail work I do, right? But I'm going to hit continue, and now I have the option to either do this as a print then cut or as a cut image. So if I was going to print this and then cut it, you would want to save it that way. You give it a name and some tags and then hit save. So I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll hit save. And then it shows up here, and you would select on that image and then click insert. Once it comes in, you'll notice that there's a warning over here, so you want to pay attention to that. If I click on that, it just says it's too large, not supported by Maker because the file size is too large. So we have to make it smaller, right? Because it's 11 by 9. So for the print and cut option, we actually have to bring it down to make it a smaller size. So if I, again, that size, I think it was 9. Yeah. So anything 6.75 by 9.25. So you got to make sure you're smaller than that, and you'll be able to use it. So it's kind of how you work with a JPEG in this case, and we can show you more as well with different types of images.